The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Plenty of chat all week about the Comyn reshuffle that happened on Monday morning. And we'll be hearing from Dr. Allinson fairly shortly, the former Treasury Minister, who's spoken publicly for the first time. So there's politics. Anything else you want to bring up, by the way? We'll hear more about that large wind farm between the Isle of Man and Fylde, which has been withdrawn, or that company that was going to do it has done that. And also yesterday, the situation with organ donation and who exactly you have to phone and how it works. Well, this is on the answer phone.
Hi, Andy. It's Peter calling from Public Health. Yesterday on the Mannin Line, we heard Sue's comments and the understandable concerns about people trying to register their organ donation decision by phone and then running into some problems. So I just wanted to clarify this. The organ donation helpline is 0300 123 2323. This connects callers to the NHS Organ Donor Register Contact Centre. When calling, people should then select option 2 for organ donation and then option 2 again to speak to an agent who can help them. There is currently a message on the phone line asking whether callers are ringing about the change in the opt-out law. If selected, this then redirects people to a website. That message was created for England's law change to opt-out, and it doesn't apply to the Isle of Man's law change. We are now working with NHS Blood and Transplant to get this message updated as soon as possible, and we apologise for any confusion this is causing in the meantime. So to repeat, anyone who wishes to register or change their organ donation decision by phone should call 0300 123 2323, then choose option 2, followed by option 2 again. This will connect them with an agent who can support them. I think it's also just important to be clear that organ donation registration is a central NHS service. NHS Blood and Transplant manage all of the organ donation data, and the Isle of Man is included in that system. Public Health does not have access to any personal data, and we can't view or change anyone's organ donation decision. But we do obviously hear the concerns about access for people who don't wish to go online. The phone service exists for that reason, and we want everyone to be able to make their organ donation decision in the way that suits them best. So we will continue working to have that phone message corrected as quickly as possible so that our process feels a little bit more intuitive. Thank you and have a great day.
Goromaya, thank you, Peter, for that. Yesterday there was also a comment about the people who aren't tech savvy, if you like, the digitally discarded, the people who've been left behind, stranded, forgotten, forsaken, really. And obviously nowadays everything is happening online. A note from Charles who said, I agree with Diane. People in their 70s and 80s grew up in a different world. Can't be expected to suddenly be familiar with the online world and downloading apps. Their needs shouldn't be brushed aside by the authorities. Maybe less of a problem in the future as people become more used to computers. And 963 said it's not just people over a certain age who can't access the internet. There are plenty of residents on the Isle of Man who simply can't afford it. They can't afford internet access or the high cost of contacting government telephone numbers on mobile phones. Many people are on the minimum wage or benefits, fixed incomes, and aren't in a position to pay for contracts or monthly internet fees. What some people who are digitally connected take for granted is a struggle for many people. And I think the government needs to understand that. That's a note in from Texter 963 and also from Ali. I think Roberta said, I think the problem for older people is that even if they're taught to use apps, unless they use them frequently, you just forget how. The first lesson should be building confidence with technology, which isn't achieved by a one-off demonstration. I.e., this is how I do it. Tap, 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 tap. Off you go. You could say the two new ministers were effectively placed in coma, and they may well distance themselves from this administration before September. That's Rich. Laurie Hooper has made his views clear through frequent criticism of other politicians. Dave said, I feel Laurie's approach lacks professionalism, and Ramsay deserves better representation. That's Dave's point of view. Well, we'll find out in September when Ramsay has its say, if you like. Is Julian with us on Mannin Line? Hi, Julian.
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
Well, terrific today, thank you.
Yeah, good. Yeah, the nights are starting to lengthen a bit now. It's noticeably a bit lighter, which is good.
Ben Hartley on The Breakfast Show always refers to the 8 and 5, i.e. when the sun starts coming up before 8 o'clock and the sun starts going down after 5 o'clock. He's very motivated by it.
Yeah, I agree. It's good. Always nice to have that coffee and look out at get that light in your eyes. A couple of years ago, even more actually, you and I spoke about a TV documentary by the disabled actress Liz Carr called Better Off Dead, in which she explored assisted dying from the perspective of someone who is disabled and worried about such legislation. And Liz travelled to Canada and met with Dr. Ellen Wiebe, who is an assisted dying practitioner who carries out the process at her abortion clinic. During the interview, Dr. Wiebe said to Liz that she could be eligible for euthanasia with her condition, which I think didn't go down too well with Liz. Dr. Wiebe also said she loves her work. And as of 2024, when that interview was done, Dr. Wiebe had euthanized over 400 people. When MAID was first introduced in 2016 in Canada for the terminally ill only, there were 1,018 participants. And then in March 2021, Track 2 was introduced, allowing people with unbearable suffering but no foreseeable death to enroll. So in 2024, which is the latest numbers as they give it towards the end of the following year, the number of MAID participants had increased to 16,499, which works out at 1 in 20 deaths in Canada are now performed by a MAID practitioner. And since 2016, there's a total of 76,500 people have been euthanized under MAID. So when the 2025 figures come out, it will no doubt exceed the population of the Isle of Man. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, December 30th, and the news that 26-year-old Keanu Vafayan, who had diabetic retinopathy, an eye condition, and depression, was euthanized under Track 2 of MAID in Canada. He'd attempted to enroll in MAID 3 years earlier, but his mum, Margaret, along with family and friends, convinced him there was hope. So when his mum found out that he'd been euthanized a few weeks ago, December 30th, she posted on Facebook, and I quote from it, "With a broken heart, I am sharing that my baby boy, Keanu, passed away on December 30th, 2025 after being euthanized. A doctor named Dr. Ellen Wiebe." Does that sound familiar, Andy?
Where are you getting all the information from for this, Julian? Where is it from?
This was reported in Juno News, which is a local one in Ontario. If you just look it up under Keanu, Kiano, Vafayan, so Vafaean, Vafayan.
Right.
So AKA Dr. Death, she refers to her as.
Okay,
approved his death based on...
Just tell me, Julian, what's the point? What point are you trying to make?
Well, the point I'm trying to make is the safeguards, in theory, that were in place in Canada have managed to put somebody through the system that ostensibly had an eye condition and a bit of depression. But what I'm referring to with this is, at the moment in the House of Lords, England and Wales Assisted Dying Bill is being deliberated. They've got over 1,100 amendments that are being considered. Pro-assisted dying lobbies say that the Lords are dragging their feet. But I just thought it'd be interesting to understand what the Lords are examining in context with what's the Isle of Man bill, which passed it last March, but it's still awaiting royal assent.
Yeah, do you think this has got anything to do with it? The fact that the UK House of Lords is considering 1,100 amendments and ours is just sitting there basically waiting for the King's signature?
Yeah, I mean, this is part of why I've rung, because I'm wondering why it's taken so long. Because, I mean, it's not long before it's a year waiting now for that royal assent. And basically, the Dr. Allinson's assisted dying bill, the participant, as a declaration of intention to die, witnessed and countersigned by 2 registered medical practitioners. You've got a cooling off period, and then the deed is done. But the House of Lords, the reason that they're sort of looking at this in more carefully, for example, Amendment 460, they want to have multidisciplinary panels that should be set up comprising legal, psychiatric, social care expertise alongside judicial sign-off to make sure of eligibility and ensure safeguards against coercion, which the legal and judicial branches are uniquely qualified to spot. I mean, it's their job, isn't it, to see criminal things. Also, criminal penalties for anyone trying to coerce or pressure someone. Other things, Amendment 39 about higher evidential standards for vulnerable people in care homes. And then the other one is Amendment 701-713 about clinical trials of the euthanasia drugs, as they've never been trialled anywhere in the world.
You see, on the Isle of Man, I mean, as you say, this hasn't even got royal assent yet. But as it stands at the moment, in my understanding, Manxcare have said they're not going to do it. So if Manxcare isn't going to do it, and again, this may be only a few people per year, who's going to do it?
Well, that's right. I mean, and the other bit that worries me somewhat is the assisted dying bill has an explanatory memorandum, which you can just find straight away on the Isle of Man government webpage. And under Section 7, Part 7, it allows a medical practitioner, if given permission, to give intravenous injection. So what you've got is a very, very close relationship in the lack of safeguards with Canada, because they're kind of doing the same thing now. It's a tiny fraction of the safeguards that are being discussed in the Lords at the moment. And I do wonder whether there is a link here with why the royal assent is it appears to be on hold, because they're kind of looking to see what's going to happen in the UK with this.
Okay, all right. Appreciate your call today, Julian. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Andy. Cheers.
All right, 17 minutes past 12. Here's Beastie with us now. Hi, Beastie. Faster my. Well, what's on your mind, Beastie?
There was a lot of discussion yesterday about people who had no internet access.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of marmalade making, otherwise I would have phoned up, so I'm phoning today.
How did the marmalade go?
Good. It's all set. I've got enough for the 12 months now. 3 different sorts.
What have you got? Grapefruit, lime and orange?
Can't do grapefruit. Amlopidine.
Oh, so
that's a drug you can't, I
know all about I know all about that.
No grapefruit then.
Okay.
No, I am very dark, very lemony, and just ordinary.
Jolly good. Anyway, that wasn't why you called about marmalade.
No, but it's passes the time. There was a lot of discussion yesterday about people without internet access, and I thought I'd just add this to it, and that is that I've been involved in computers one way or the other since the 70s. And in fact, I was sending emails in the 90s when most people were just playing games if they had a computer, that is. However, I think it was 2008, I decided to pull the plug completely, get rid of all of it. Well, it's still sitting upstairs, but the plug is pulled, because I didn't like the way it was going. Instead of using computers and the internet for exchange of information, etc., it started getting very devious and manipulative, and people using it for time-wasting projects. So I pulled the plug. That's the thing. So now I've got nothing at all. In fact, I'm taking it to the extreme, and I'm getting rid of most of my technology and living very basically.
You've still got a toaster, have you?
I've got a gas grill.
Oh, I see.
So that I obviously I got to have toast for the marmalade, haven't I?
Well, I was worried about it, to be quite honest. I just wonder how much technology you're actually going to be left with.
I've got a radio, but I've also got a wind-up radio for when the electric goes.
Right.
I've got bottled gas that I cook on.
Do you have a television at all?
No. But my one luxury, my one indulgence is the electric blanket.
So, do you feel digitally discarded, Beastie? Yes. I don't take it personally because this is why I've done it, so that I can watch what's happening. And I just feel desperately sorry for the people who didn't realise they were going to be left behind. And life is getting more and more difficult. And the difficulty is the assumption that everybody can get online. For instance, I when I go into town, which is once a week at least, and I look at the posters to see what's on, and there might be something that really grabs my attention, but there's no date, there's no place, there's no time, but there's a QR code. So I write across the poster when, where, and who. Oh, is that you?
That's me that does that, yeah. However, here's one of the points, and in fact, one of your guys, I use that as a gender-neutral term, by the way, one of your guys in the newsroom, for instance, Christian, because I know he loves numbers, may like to follow this up, and that is, on the census, the very, very last question was about internet access. And because like Christian, I love numbers and analysing data, etc., and I could not wait for the results of the census to come out so that I could see how many people on the island did not have internet access.
Right. I've got a serious question for you, because you were obviously, when you were a bit of a geek. You knew all about computers and you knew how they worked and this, that, and the other.
Well, not necessarily, but I was heavily involved in them.
But everybody said computers are the future, and they appear to be the future, Beastie.
Yeah.
So, isn't it incumbent on people to kind of skill up and get to know everything?
But it's the dangers that are involved in that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I take your point. One point to be made, somebody's messaged in just to say, when all these companies, and particularly banks, say it's for customer convenience, what they're saying is, we make more money. We're cutting costs by getting everybody to bank online and this, that, and the other. So it's a convenient get-out-of-jail card for lots of companies so that they go online because they don't have to actually then have bricks and mortar and pay rates and pay heating and lighting and what have you. Yeah. So we are being fairly well manipulated where that's concerned. But you
mentioned banks. Just as an aside, before I go back to the point I actually want to make, and that is that, do you remember 12 months ago when Lloyd's finished in Ramsey?
Yes.
And there was a great big hoo-ha about it, but it was all going to be okay because you could get your money from the post office.
Yeah.
You can't now. Lloyds have withdrawn from the post office.
Oh.
So if you live in Ramsey and you don't have a car and you want to get your money from your bank, you've got to spend a day getting the bus, going into Douglas, which is, but there you are. But there's been very, very little, nothing said about that.
How come Lloyds pulled out of the post office then?
Well, they have. They've cancelled the contract.
So they did it for a while and then they stopped?
Just under 12 months. In fact, I thought they were finishing at the end of this month, so I went in the day before yesterday to get some loot, and was told, no, I'm sorry, it was yesterday they withdrew. So you now cannot get money in Ramsey from Lloyds. Anyway, that's a by the by. Going back to the point, the census. I eagerly awaited the paper report so that I could see how many people on the island were without internet access. And here's the thing, that was not even mentioned. It's completely not there.
So they asked the question but didn't give the answer?
This is in the analysis which you could get from the census. I mean, they've got it. They know what the answers were. Right. But it's not there. So please, Christian, if it is Christian, isn't it? Your guys in the newsroom that loves his numbers.
Oh yes. Oh, crikey.
Yeah. So if please follow this up and find out how many people said that they did not have internet access, because I believe it's a lot more than is made out. But why was it not on the census figures when they came out? Why was that question totally ignored?
Are you still getting Manx pound notes, Beastie?
Well, it's very difficult because getting the money from the post office, they did not have pound notes. They only had tenors and fivers.
So I'm just trying to think. There's only, is it Barclays and Isle of Man Bank in Ramsey now, isn't it?
Only the Isle of Man, that's all. And you can get pound notes from there, which I do.
My word. Okay. Beastie, lovely to talk to you. I hope now you've got me salivating over that marmalade, by the way. Thanks.
It's delicious, and it's all pure stuff in there, and I know exactly what goes in there. I make my bread, so I know exactly what goes in there, which is Laxey Mills flour, of course. So I when I wake up in the morning, I know exactly what I'm having. The only thing that I'm lacking, which is long gone now, and that is the goat's milk for the tea.
Okay, all right. Good to hear from you, Beastie. Have a good weekend.
Goodbye.
Bye now.
And you. Bye-bye.
26 minutes past 12. So, Dr. Allinson disappeared out of Comyn at the start of this week. What's he had to say about it? Dr. Allinson.
We joke that a week's a long time in politics, a day's a long time in politics as well, but I do wish Chris Thomas all the best for taking on the mantle at a very challenging time for him, because obviously we've spent a lot of time, really since last July, on the budget for this year. That was decided and agreed by council ministers. It's been printed, and there's a briefing of it next week, and obviously he and the Chief Minister have said that they want now to do changes to that, and so I look forward to the presentation and the changes that they want to bring in. Anyone coming into this role will have their own ideas of what the priorities should be for the country. As I said, we from a Treasury perspective, we've been working with all the departments in terms of their needs, investing in the infrastructure of our island, looking at the revised island plan, and particularly looking at issues such as security, safety, but also connectivity, and really also the investment in education and health that we need. So I very much hope that those are preserved. We have some powerful lobby groups on the Isle of Man. They all have their own agendas and their own wants and needs. What Tynwald agreed back in 2021 was to merge the living wage with the minimum wage. It came out of a Poverty Committee report, and that's been Tynwald policy up until Tuesday. It is very surprising that 1 month later government does a U-turn and also Tynwald changes its mind, but that's democracy for you. And as Alistair Ramsey was saying on an interview, we do have lobby groups on the Isle of Man. They can be quite influential because of the immediacy of politicians here, and there are lots of different ways of making sure people are out of poverty. I do believe that people getting a decent wage is one of them. And when I look at people who serve me in restaurants or bars and look them in the face, I think they're worth £13.46 an hour. What I've tried to do ever since I came into government, both in terms of this administration, from Department of Enterprise and then being asked by the Chief Minister to move into Treasury, was promote our economic strategy, promote what we wanted to do for society to increase wages, but also invest in the infrastructure and make sure those businesses on the island could thrive. I am pragmatic. I'm also a patriot in terms of the Isle of Man and want this place to thrive.
That's Dr. Allinson and his views on what's happened. Any thoughts? Text, email, call, WhatsApp. Oh, Keith's on now. Hi, Keith.
Good afternoon, Andy. Just listening to Dr. Allinson there. Well, good luck whichever way he's going to do what he's going to do. Maybe he's going to be go back into being a doctor, because there's a shortage of doctors. Anyway, continuing on about internet connections, etc., and pensioners. Well, I'm actually an ex-politician, like from Douglas Corporation many moons ago. And when they brought in laptops, etc., we were all issued with laptops. Now, it's in the past now. We got a new laptop sort of every year because technology was changing then. But we didn't get any training courses on how to use them. And I think the corporation powers that be fell flat there. And anyway, continuing on about it, now I've had my phone switched off yesterday for personal reasons and what have you. And I switched on this morning. I'm with one of the communication companies, and I've got 114 spams. How can I stop that, Andy?
Oh, blimey. Well, obviously somebody's hacked into your email address, Keith. Right.
Well, I'm very, I've been using a laptop now and the technology that goes with it, like for the last, got to be over 20 years now. So I was born in the latter 50s, etc., but I forced myself to learn and learn and learn. But there is some people out there, like born in the 50s, 60s, and pensioners. I'm sorry to feather them and what have you, but I do understand where they're coming from. Now, I had a bit of a laugh the other day with you on your program. Now, a lady thought that AI was artificial insemination. Now, I learned that out in Knockalo Experimental Farm years ago with the Charolais bulls. So anyway, continuing on from the 114 spams. So I'm not going to be able to get rid of that, am I, Andy?
Well, the thing is, without telling me too much, is it an old Manx.net account that you've got?
No, it's all sort of American stuff.
Right, no, I mean your email address. Is it an old Manx.net account? I mean, don't tell me.
No, I've never had Manx.net.
Yeah, because obviously what's happened is somebody somewhere, and what they'll always say to you is, make sure you keep your defences up and update your apps and do this, that, and the other. That's the key, apparently, to everything like this. But well, you're quite right. When people give you a piece of technology and then say, basically, get on with it yourself and use it and find out about it, it can be very frustrating.
I mean, say the spams are saying, "Oh, you've won 100 spins on a machine." My name's Petunia, if you call me, and all that, And what I noticed was, it's all coming from my email address.
Right. Well, the first thing to do is don't even acknowledge it. Just delete the whole lot. You're just going to have to get rid of all those, because otherwise, click on any one of them and you're going to get something infecting your machine, Keith.
Well, I've been one step ahead of you there, Andy, for the last near 2 years. I've noticed this spam game, etc., etc. To me, Andy, it's the modern postal system, isn't it?
Oh, crikey, it is, yeah. And what will happen is that somebody somewhere has sent you an email, one of your contacts, mate, because it doesn't even have to be you that has the problem. It could be one of your contacts that's got the problem. They send you an email, you can click on that, and suddenly the stuff that's going through their computer will then go to your computer. It's like a chain mail gone haywire.
Well, anyway, Andy, I'm one step ahead. I'm up there. But if somebody can't get cash, etc., and like the pensioners older than me and what have you, I mean, to say it's going to be very difficult for them. But I think the government should step in here and have a system, have somebody learn pensioners how to do it, because children, offspring from pensioners, etc., they've got their own life to run, etc., and what have you, and they can't be sat beside Grandad or Nana there showing, well, this is how you do it, Mary, and this is how you do it, Alfie. Yeah. You know what I mean? But, anyway, continuing on, I'm nearly done. Now, the cost of the internet connections. Now, this is another downside for a pensioner. The cost of the internet connections, etc., mobile phone as well. I'm not naming the companies, but the one I'm with says, oh, you've got free blah, 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 blah. Now, you've got to keep that credit up for that to work. It's a con. And I think that communication companies need to lower the rates, I mean, say, what they all wanted to do was go onto a contract. Well, I refuse to do that because I don't use it all the time, Andy. And if you don't use it, you lose your et cetera.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all about the cost of the internet connection. So I've taken a record of my credit on my phone, and I'll find out how much this call has cost me.
Oh, crikey.
This will cost me.
He should have said...
Because he... No, actually, the chap phoned me back because
well, there we are.
When I got through the first time, it was just blank, absolutely nothing. Right. And I'll just say, as I say, about pensioners, like, I said, I'm not far away myself and all that. But I hope that the powers that be, the corporations and the commissioners on the island, for a change, freeze the rents on the houses, because there's certain persons out there who can't keep up with their gas, and the electric charges is astronomical. Anyway, I'll finish off by saying good luck to the steam packet using Lawn. They're up round the corner at Northern Ireland, and I think I know why they've done it, because there's a speed limit in Belfast dock there, just like the Mersey speed limit, and that's what takes a lot of time for them boats to get into these areas. But Lawn is straight in off the sea.
Great.
I think that's an 8 card. Right, Andy, bye.
Good to hear from you. Thanks for that. Good to hear from you, Keith. And obviously, well, they're going to be starting Larne and Dublin soon as well. And Larne will give all sorts of connections. We'll see. I had heard that about the Belfast Lock speed limit that was causing problems. So I'm sure there are charities, or if not organisations, that help people who want to get connected, or people who don't know about the internet. And it can be very off-putting if you don't know that much about the internet, to be confronted with it. And sometimes if a partner dies and suddenly you have to cope with everything, it can be very off-putting, can be very intimidating, a bit embarrassing, to be quite honest. So if you know of any charities or organisations that help people with getting digitally connected and getting savvy, let me know. So we want to watch out for the digitally discarded. Text, email, call and WhatsApp.
This is the Isle of Man talking. The Mannin line.
Manx Solar Electrical offer wise solar and heating solutions for home and business. We're the Isle of Man's trusted experts in solar panels, Tesla battery storage and energy-efficient heat pumps, helping you power your home sustainably and save money. Call 665 800 or visit manxsolarelectrical.com.
Come to Manx Solar Electrical.
Our island's energy reimagined.
When you want the best.
Most builders start with a hammer and saw. Manx Construction start with ideas and imagination. For new build, extension or home office, Manx Construction offer full service from planning to completion. Call Tony on 452 688.
It's the glow up your home deserves. The Lifestyle Furniture winter sale is now on. Huge savings on our most sumptuous sofas. Dreamy discounts on beds and mattresses, including premium brands like Harrison Spinks. And 20% off all accessories. Mirrors, lighting, rugs, art. The details that dazzle. All with free home delivery island-wide and finance options subject to status. The winter sale at Lifestyle Furniture. Now on at Snugborough Trading Estate, Union Mills.
Flu season is here, but never fear, so is the chance to protect yourself. Whether you qualify for a free NHS flu jab or would like a private vaccination for just £20, Kingsley Mooti has made it quick and easy to get protected. Visit Kingsley Mooti on Facebook or call 625 040. Get your flu jab today with Kingsley Mooti.
With back-to-back defeats to start 2026, FC Isle of Man have another chance to get their first victory of the year when they return to home territory this weekend. Saturday night sees the Ravens back at the Bowl, hoping to end a run of 3 straight losses when they face South Liverpool under the floodlights. Join me, Rob Pritchard and Darren Timpson for FC Isle of Man versus South Liverpool, kicking off at 6 p.m. this Saturday. Manx Radio will be bringing you full live match commentary on our DAB and AM 1368 channels.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
I hate it when you tell people you don't use or you don't have the internet and they tell you to get a friend to do it for you, because sometimes it may actually be confidential. I watched the documentary. Julian was talking about assisted dying, and I think he misrepresented the motivation of Dr. Weeb by quoting her as saying she loves her work. I don't think she actually meant she enjoys helping people die rather than she finds satisfaction in helping people stop their suffering. So I hope we don't return to scaremongering and demonising, says 475. And why can't people, this is 068 who just says, why can't people with unbearable suffering be allowed to choose assisted dying? The clue is in the word, it's unbearable. When's it going to be law on the Isle of Man, though? I mean, those three subjects have taken up a lot of political oxygen in the past 4 years. The assisted dying bill, the removal of the bishop's vote, and the 20 miles per hour. And none of them have actually happened. Here's Juan now. Hi, Juan.
Oh, just listening to Beastie there, Andy, and Wind Up Radio. This is truly Wind Up Radio, haven't we? We've got a good programme of Wind Up Radio here.
In one way, yes.
Yes. The quote of the day yesterday must have been AI, artificial insemination. That did get me laughing, I must admit. And you're talking about someone came on there about wages before, and it's interesting in America, especially now. You go to a restaurant or anything, and they're actually demanding no less than 15% tipping for staff now in hospitality, with a sliding scale on the bottom going up to like 30%, which is that's quite massive on top of your bill for hospitality for restaurants. But yeah, they're very the tipping culture out here has always been big, which is a debatable subject. Just on the point that your texter just made there about the assisted dying that Julian was going on about. I think the point Julian was making is the safeguarding. I don't think anyone really is contesting that people who are end of life, should pass at their own will. Where this is going skew, and you can quite clearly see the results in Canada with the MAID program, is the fact that you've got human rights lawyers now on this case, and people now who are depressed or any way like that are now claiming the right to die. And I think that's where this is going skew. It's nothing to do with people who are absolutely terminally ill and end of life. It's the fact that your human rights lawyers get hold of this, and then it goes to another dimension. And I think that's the part that Julian was referring to.
Okay.
Listening to Laurie Hooper, I believe Laurie's now pulled out of being part of two departments now, I believe.
Yes, he has.
From the news yesterday. Yeah. Toys out of the pram?
Or a principal stand.
Or a principal stand, maybe. I don't know. And I have no problem with tackling Paul Wetherall when he talks about this is the time for party politics. I would suggest that your party's probably not the one to go forward, neither is the Labour Party at the moment, to be fair. Laurie's definitely a desired taste, that's for sure. I've watched his mannerisms in the hustings, and definitely a desired taste, probably like Dr. Hayward, in fact. My main point today I was wanting to talk about, and David talks about this quite a lot, about getting people in trades and putting people through trades in our college here, and the future of people within the island. And I'm interested that it came across yesterday. Government is still employing people coming in from likes of Ghana, Zimbabwe and places like that to do trades within the DOI. Now, my point here, and this is not racist, black, white, red, blue, yellow or pink. It's nothing to do with that. It's the fact that why are we bringing in people to do basic trades from faraway places when we have our own people on the island that are going to be looking for work and jobs? And I don't quite understand that, Andy. I don't know. Do you?
Well, it depends whether the people on the Isle of Man want to do it. The first thing, that's often the case, is there are many jobs that are done on the Isle of Man by immigrant workers, bluntly, that people on the Isle of Man really don't want to do. I'm thinking particularly of the cleaning industry.
I get that, but I mean, my point here is about trades. Now, when you look at statistics now, they're saying that the biggest earners that's going to be in the future, with artificial intelligence coming in, robotics and all that, will be electricians and plumbers. They're going to be the most sought after people that are going to earn a lot of money in the industry. And you know, like David said quite a few times, why are we not pushing this? I mean, government with all its specialised people that we're employing in there at large sums of money must know that what's going to happen down the line. So why are they not engaging in putting our own people forward to fill these voids? You know, if we're bringing people in from far afield.
Okay, all right. Appreciate it, Ewan. Thanks for being with us. Have a good weekend now.
Take care, Andy. See you now.
All right, let's go to Ken, who's with us. Hi, Ken. No, we'll find Ken. In that case, we'll go to... let me see here. Have we got Ken? Are you there, Ken? No, in that case, we'll find, I think... Okay, we'll get to Chris, I think, in just a few moments' time. As soon as the technology decides to have its own way. I'm sure it'll be there somewhere. Right, more messages coming in, including, I work for a company that only provides pay slips via the internet. It's a legal requirement to provide a payslip. However, I work with people who have no access to or inclination for an online presence. It's not something that they want. They've set up with an email account by the same business and their documents are sent to that email. These people aren't offered any alternative and now do not, without supervision or assistance, receive a payslip. So, what exactly is going on with that? Well, you're getting left behind. That's exactly what's what's happening. So, digitally discarded. What do you think about that?
What Tinmouth lacked in length this week, it more than made up for in big announcements and policy changes. The order papers soon had a hefty edition of a statement on the Chief Minister's reshuffle, with two ministers either stepping down or being sacked, depending on your point of view. While Alf Cannon's statement and a cooling in enthusiasm on the living wage grabbed the headlines, homelessness, the island's cattle health status and a call for forensic audit of health were also covered. That's all on Perspective, Sunday at 12 on Manx Radio with me, Phil Gaughan. Is that the popular sound of a screeching U-turn I hear?
All you need to do to get in touch, text, email, call and WhatsApp and whatever's on your mind. Get someone from Africa to do your tech. That's Desmond. Well, we'll try. Just wanted to say that I thought the Chief Minister made the right decisions this week. It was a brave thing to do, but absolutely the right thing to do. It seems Tynwald has completely lost touch with the public, but I feel now that common sense is coming, says Brian. And that gives me hope for the future. I know Mr. Cannon has come in for a lot of criticism, but I doubt many would have made the decision that he made this week so close to the budget. So, says Brian, well done to the Chief Minister. I wonder how long it takes to get through to Mannin line. Well, all you need to do is to call 66 13 68 and you get through. Both my partner and I have registered as opted out of organ donation, but when there's confirmation at the end of the process, it states that one has opted out. Yet our names were nowhere to be seen, so what proof do we have that we've actually opted out, says Valma. Absolutely nothing. Regardless of how strong or otherwise lobby groups are, one of Dr. Allinson's biggest weaknesses was not listening to feedback from any relevant groups, whichever policy was being discussed, says Steve. Andrew said it's great that the so-called champagne socialist who's never run a business, I think he's referring to Dr. Allinson, tells us what we can afford by increasing the tax burden on businesses and taxpayers. If he'd spoken to local businesses before dictating to them, he might still be in place, says Andrew. And for those challenged by technology, the government has a drop-in centre at the sea terminal to help people. They could do more. I was born in the early 50s and have used technology since the early 90s. It's not going away. So you can go to that drop-in centre at the sea terminal. Okay, right, well... another message in that just says, just an observation regarding some of my generation. And how we detest being forced into technology we don't want, don't need, or sometimes don't understand. I get frustrated by retailers and hospitality venues that insist on technology payments by smartphone or card and won't accept cash. This is Southern Andy. Personally, I pay by card or cash and detest being told that no cash is accepted. Perhaps these venues need to understand that they're in business because we, the customers, are there, but they need to remember we have a choice. I will not frequent businesses that don't accept cash. Well, we found Chris now. Hi, Chris. No, we've still not found Chris. We'll try and get him back. Regarding ageing people, says Chris, who need help with modern communication, Age Concern in Ramsey can offer help Tuesday afternoons and all day Friday with an appointment. I'm elderly and was given an iPhone for Christmas, says Mary, and find it very difficult as my eyesight is poor. Do they make bigger phones with bigger screens? I want to learn. Isn't it funny how the phones used to be an awful lot bigger than they are now? Dr. Allenson said in an interview that he's a socialist. This explains to me why his election manifesto mentioned increasing employed persons' benefit and why the size of the welfare state hasn't been reduced during his time in Treasury, says Gaz. Well, you just wonder, don't you, what exactly... Ken's with us now. Hi, Ken.
Afternoon to you, eventually.
Yes.
Surprised that the Treasury Minister got sacked over carrying out Tynwell's wishes about the minimum wage, and there was no mention of the My Card fiasco. Hello?
Yeah, go on. So...
Right, well, I'm just amazed at that, and I don't know what the My Card situation is at the moment. And the other thing is about the electrical, the voting form, which they had to do certain changes, because there was this jury change, and I phoned up the number. They couldn't tell me the answer, but they did give me the number of somebody who could tell me the answer about the jury service. And also, I assume you had to tick the box that says the changes, but there was also asking, highlight or put an L on the leader of the house who correspondence should be sent to in the future. Because my daughter just bought a house in Peel and she got an occupier letter, and of course it's got the previous occupant's dates of birth on it.
Right.
I do wonder. And the other thing I was going to talk about, the AI office, how many extra staff are they employing for that? Nobody actually asked at Tynwell when it was on how many extra staff are going to run it.
Well,
Have
apparently
it's
the future, Ken. AI is the future.
Yeah, but how many staff are going to be in that office? They miss out asking important questions. I don't know whether they want to not rock the boat, but I thought that would have been an obvious question to ask, supplementary question. How many extra staff are the government going to employ to run it?
Well, I wonder. Okay. All right, Ken.
Well, okay.
Good
Cheers,
to hear
bye.
from you. Thanks for being with us today. And thanks for hanging on there as well. We've got, I think we're going to find Chris now. Let's see. Here we are. Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Andy.
We've got 1970s technology here.
Yes. Oh no, I think what you've done is digitally discarded me.
Yes.
Anyway, look quickly because we're running out of time. I wanted to respond to the points that Alex Allenson made to you, where he said that he believes that the lower paid staff were entitled to the amount that they were proposing. What he failed to say, and what he's refused to accept, is the Local Economy Forum from the get-go, from last November, was saying categorically that our proposal would have delivered more money into the pockets of the low-paid than Alex Allenson's proposal. Why? Because he was determined to tax the low pay to death. He's moved the tax insurance up from 8% to 15%. And put them in a position where they, at the beginning of his administration, the lowest paid were paying north of £1,000. And by the time, had he had his way, had the Chief Minister not stood his position when he did on Tuesday, by April, the lowest paid, despite the higher gross pay, would be paying close to £4,000 tax and insurance. And now I'm speaking again now as chairman of the local economy forum, because things were happening so fast last week when Alex Allinson, having refused to accept or even listen to us properly on the Monday, which was the first time he spoke to us after having said months before that he would, by the Wednesday he came out with these pretentious and ridiculous multi-million-pound spending plans from the reserves. And I haven't even got time to speak to the rest of the membership to establish their position. So I had to step down and challenge what he was doing, because it was absolutely disgraceful. And the Chief Minister did exactly the right thing. Secondly, Laurie Hooper, because many of us attended the debate that hung around Julie Edge's motion, he tried to castigate the Chief Minister for not dealing with those whose pay fell below the current tax threshold. Well, let me just say this now to Laurie Hooper. Not once did he say or challenge the fact that on the Isle of Man, low-paid people have to pay 11% national insurance from £8,000 onwards, whereas in the UK, they don't start paying NI till they earn north of £12,000, and they only pay 8%. So he was just posturing, and I'm afraid, I'm sorry to have to come back on Alex Allinson, and now he's stepped down, but I'm afraid it's necessary, Andy.
Okay, appreciate it, Chris, and thanks for your forbearance with the technology.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
That's it now for Mannin Line today. Thanks to Chris on the phones. Chris with the hammer and the machinery. And if you want to get in touch, by the way, next week we're going to be live at Ballacameen High School. Another high school outside broadcast is on Wednesday. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch, email manninline@manxradio.com. The answer phone is 682-631. You talk about 29p for electricity. Regardless of whether Eristane goes ahead in the south, the price of electricity is going to rise over the years. Nothing stays the same, says James. Why is that, James? Why can't electricity be a bit cheaper? That's it. Have a fantastic weekend.
W